Hey y'all, today I'm going to teach you how to do a few different basic pant alterations. So I'm going to show you how to take in the waist, the pant legs, and then how to do a basic double roll hem. The measurements that you're going to need is the amount of inches you want cut from the bottom of your pant leg, the amount you would like to take in at the waist, and the amount you would like to take in from the sides of the pant leg. And taking away extra fabric from your pant legs is what's going to make the pants look a little more fitted on you and less baggy. So the best way to measure this is just to put the pants on and gather up the excess fabric around your ankles with your hand. Mark that with a safety pin or a pin. Take off the pants and take that measurement lying flat. So first let's start with the hem. So I decided that I would like to take 2 total inches of length off of the existing hem, but because I'm doing a double rolled hem, I'll be turning over the raw edge of the fabric twice. And I've also decided that I want the width of my hem to be 1/2 of an inch. So I'm only going to cut off 1 total inch from the existing hem because when I turn it over twice, another inch will be taken off of the total length. Before you are actually able to stitch down your hem, you need to narrow your pant leg first because those 2 seams are going to intersect. I determined that the amount that I wanted to narrow my pant leg was going to be 2 inches in total, which is only 1 inch when you lay the pants down flat. So I'm just going to use the existing side seam and then just use my ruler to taper down to the 1 inch mark that I've made at the bottom of the pant leg. Then you're just going to cut off the excess fabric from the new seam, which is going to leave some raw edges. So you can either use a serger or overlocker, or if you don't have one of those, most machines will have just a basic zigzag stitch. So that's what I'm going to demonstrate here. You're just going to position your fabric in the middle of your presser foot and zigzag over those raw edges to finish it off. Now you're ready to take on your hem. In order to make sure that I'm going to be flipping the raw edge of my fabric over at 1/2 of an inch exactly both times, I'm going to first do what is called a basting stitch at 1/2 of an inch seam allowance on my sewing machine. A basting stitch just means that you are using a longer stitch length than normal. A normal stitch length is usually about 2.5, so a basting stitch could be 3 or higher. I'll now use the basting stitches guide to fold up the hem twice, and then when I go to sew it, I'm going to switch my stitch length back to 2.5, and then position my needle to be right at the edge of the folded hem. This is going to give it a nice, clean finish. I personally prefer the double rolled hem because it eliminates the need for a serger or a zigzag stitch to cover up the raw edge. And also the ability to use the basting stitch as a guide ensures that my hem is nice and even all the way around. And you can always remove the extra basting stitches with a seam ripper. Now you're ready to tackle the waistband, which admittedly is a good bit more complicated than the hem and the pant legs. You're going to want to start by marking the total amount that you want to take in from the waist. And then you're going to have to seam rip the stitches that are keeping the waistband down and seam rip a little extra around the area that you've marked in order to give yourself some room to turn the waistband inside out. Once you're able to open up the waistband, you're going to fold it in half with your right sides together and matching up the edges of the original marking that you had made. So for example, I decided to take 1 inch away from this waistband. So when I fold it in half, my new stitch line is going to be 1/2 of an inch width total. So I'm just going to pin that new fold line down, mark where my new stitch is going to be, and pin that to secure. Once you have the new stitch line done, you're probably going to want to trim away some of the excess fabric on the inside of the waistband. And if that tapers down deep into the back of the pant seam, then you might have to zigzag stitch over that again. But now all you have to do is redo the stitching that you took out of the waistband originally. So that might be some top stitching at the very top of the waistband, which I do have here, and then the stitching down at the bottom of the waistband as well. But because you used all of those original seam lines from the waistband, it's going to end up looking pretty smooth. If you had to remove the center back belt loop like you saw me do earlier, these are super easy to reattach. All you're going to do is use that trusty zigzag stitch again, but reduce the width and the length of your zigzag stitch so that it makes that nice, thick, secure stitch for the belt loops. And that's it. You are done. Congratulations. You've just learned the top 3 most common alterations you're going to need to do for all of your pants needs.